You know the vibes. Welcome back to another episode of the Hoop Genius podcast brought to you by NBA 2K24. As always, you can get your copy in the description. Myself, Mamuzi, alongside me, as always, a three-time NBA champion, now becoming increasingly more famous on TikTok, where the fans are giving the comments on his takes.
Oh, really?
A lot of Dame Lillard fans not happy with BJ right now.
How come? What happened?
Because of all the players you said you'd take ahead of Dame Lillard on yesterday's episode. They weren't too happy about that. But it just makes me think that they've not been watching Dame Lillard much this season. I'm not saying he's not great.
If I remember correctly, you said like right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're mad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're saying right now. I love Dame Lillard. However, it is what it is.
They just ain't watching. They're living off highlights and reputation. But today, what I want to talk about. I watched. Now, the old heads must have hated watching this, but I loved watching this.
Oh, okay.
A thrilling game between the Atlanta Hawks and the Indiana Pacers. Now, I don't know if it's a coincidence. I tweeted about this yesterday. It may be coincidence, or it may be by design, but the in-season tournament games have been pretty damn good. They went down to the wire with a final score of 157 to 152.
Hold on, let me get in a defensive stance, Mom. I'm going to get a defensive stance.
Someone's got to. Someone's got to. I mean, they didn't. The highest scoring game in regulation was in 1990 between Golden State and Denver, 162 to 158. They almost broke that record. Man, they had like 100 points each in the third quarter. It was crazy. BJ, did you watch the game? And if so, what are your thoughts?
Well, I watched a little bit of it. I didn't watch the full game. And listen, that's a lot of points. I mean, well, that's what is that? Over 300 points? And I mean, what can I say? That the game now is a game that clearly favors, offensive output. Well, we got a lot of offensive output. Terrific guard play on both sides. Shooting. And clearly, this wasn't a defensive struggle by no stretch of the imagination. And what can you say? I mean, Bo, I'm thinking to myself, okay, the one thing that we traditionally have seen in the playoffs or playoff level basketball is everyone ups their defensive output, right? When I say up, you have time to prepare, let's say on the defensive end. We're clearly, Mo, I mean, maybe there has been, I don't know if there's ever been a game 157 and 150 points in a playoff-like setting. So clearly there's a different mindset here. Now, what that mindset is, it'll evolve and become whatever it's supposed to become. But saying this, I mean, that's a lot of points. I don't care. I mean, well, that's to score 157 or score 150 points in an NBA game, Mo. I mean, I don't know what that says other than clearly, the game plan wasn't to stop the other team. I mean, clearly. So, you know what? But it was entertaining. And, we saw a lot of highlights from that game. Let's say that.
Well, to your point of playoff games, the highest scoring ever playoff game was the Portland Trailblazers 153 to the Phoenix Suns 151 in May 1992 in double overtime. Aside from that, on the list, you have the Celtics and Knicks in the 1990 playoffs, 157 to 128. I don't know if that was overtime. It doesn't say it on the list. So we have seen it before, but it's a very rare occurrence.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about Tyrese Halliburton. Now, there was huge numbers on each side, but it was really Tyrese Halliburton who led the Pacers comeback. Huge third quarter, but the fourth quarter did not score the basketball. And this is the emphasis on the importance on actually watching the games rather than watching tweets and highlights and whatnot. Because if you were to see a tweet that said Tyrese Halliburton didn't score the ball in the fourth quarter, then it's like, oh, wow, this guy choked. But him being on the court, the Hawks were sending two defenders at him. They're picking him up at, beyond half court. And he was really opening, avenues for his teammates. Buddy Hield got going as well, which was great to see. They put him into the starting lineup for this one. But I want to talk a little bit about Tyrese Halliburton, because we've spoken about Maxey, we've spoken about Fox, SGA, all these guys, but I feel like Halliburton needs some love, because his improvement with his pull-up jump shot has been staggering compared to when he first came into the league. His passing is, when it comes to guards and the passes he's throwing, no one else in the NBA right now, I don't think, is throwing them quite like him. But what are you seeing from this young man over in Indiana, and why does it stand out to you?
Well, when he came out of Iowa State here, it was
say with his chest.
Yeah. Well,
no, you're not Iowa State, are you?
I went to the University of Iowa. I went to the he went to Iowa State. He went to the other school. But in saying that, here's what really stood out about him. The first thing was his size. A 6'5", 6'6" guard or so, playing the lead guard position. Okay. And well, that's the thing that really stood out to me. I was like, oh, he has size, which will allow him to see over the top of most defensive guards or the players. That's pretty big for his position. And he has an ability to pass the ball. Now, that shot goes in that he shoots, but it's a funky shot. But it goes in. So, hey, if it's not broke, why fix it? Okay. So he now is shooting the 3-point ball at a pretty nice clip. I mean, he's better than just an open 3-point shooter. I mean, he can do some things now with that shot. So the first thing that I saw with him was a young man who could pass, a young man who could run the position, and he understood how to manage the game. Now he's scoring the ball at a high clip.
8 threes a game, and he's hitting 46% of them.
Okay. And here is what he has learned. The most difficult thing, Mo, as a young guard, especially when you come to the NBA, is when to pass and when to shoot. And now, Mo, he has figured that out in what is this, year 4 for him, or year 3 or 4 for him?
So, this is year number 4.
Number 4. Okay. So now that he's figured that out, Mo, you're starting to see outputs like this. Now, he had 37 points, but which was really impressive to me, he had about 15 or 16 assists. I mean, Mo, that's pretty impressive, okay, in an NBA game. This isn't like, he's playing against minor leagues. He's playing against like all-star caliber players. I mean, so that's pretty impressive. Now, Mo, the next thing that I need to see from him is, okay, let's get through this season, continue doing what you're doing. And is it fair for us to say we expect him to advance out of the first round? I mean, this young man is playing, Mo, like a superstar. Those are superstar caliber level stats. Now, do I think he can do that every night? No. But he's capable at any given moment to be explosive. And he didn't even score in the fourth quarter. So, Mo, I'm going to say now he's up next. I mean, he's setting the table and the expectations where I should say he's a 20-point scorer. He's a double-digit assist guy. And he's probably going to command some level of attention in the game, in the defensive game plan. You're not just going to say, he's another guy. He will demand probably a double team. And he's scoring the ball at an exceptional high clip right now. So this is great to see. I mean, we talk about player development. We talk about those things where here's a guy now that we've taken potential off of his name. And with that comes expectation. So I'm expecting the Atlanta Hawks to continue to improve. They have depth, terrific coach. Mathurin and these guys, Mathurin and Obi Toppin are starter level players coming off the bench. So Mo, they have depth, they have shooting, they have size. And I think it's fair now to say we should expect this team to, at the very least, get to the playoffs. With this level of talent, he will be an all-star again, probably more times than not this year as well. And now we're saying Mathurin and Obi Toppin and the guys that they have, I mean, Mo, they got a nice team.
Miles Turner, Bruce Brown, some defense with those
just,
two. Neesmith's come a long way as well since he was with the Celtics. My question is this, though. They're running teams off the court. You know, they're playing a super fast pace. They're getting up and down. They're getting out of transition. They're putting up, I think they're putting up more 150-point games than in this stretch of the season than I've ever seen any team start the season with. My question is this, though. When we get to the playoffs, as you alluded to earlier, are they going to be able to get wins when the game is not so fast?
Well, I think so, Mo. You know, this is the growth process of any team, especially a young team like this. So right now, Mo, we are in the regular season, and you always look for teams to take a step. I think it's fair to say they've taken a step from last year. They've met and accepted the challenge. Now, let's continue to grow. But then, like every young team, they will learn this lesson. The regular season is the regular season. Check. I think they have addressed that. Now, when the game slows down, will they be able to adapt to that? And the only way you're going to learn that, Mo, is you have to play in that. Now, Bruce Brown, I'm sure that's one of the reasons they brought him here in the offseason and gave him a nice contract. It was because of his experience, especially coming off a championship run like he did just a year ago. That's critical to their growth and development. So clearly the organization felt a certain way about this group, and they brought in a very well-respected veteran with a championship pedigree into their locker room. Okay. Rick Carlisle has won a championship as a coach. I think he Dallas won one as a player. I think he won one with the Boston Celtics, if I read, here. So clearly now they were ready for this moment. Now we're just seeing what they have probably known since last season. Halliburton is coming off I thought he had a terrific summer, even though they didn't win it. But for him to be around those caliber of players for all summer had to do something for his confidence. So I think this is just a natural progression, but it will be surprising. You know, I don't know how this young group is going to respond when they lose their first game on the home court. But that's one you have to go through. But I will say this, though, Mo, I do like this group. I think this group, as is, has a chance to really achieve something.
Do you think,
whether it's this year or next year, I don't know. But I like this group, though.
Do you think they're going to stick with this group now? Because it feels like every year during the summer and during the trade deadline, Buddy Hield and Miles Turner's names are constantly in the trade conversations. And in fact, over the summer, we had a conversation about Buddy Hield and Pacers finding a way to find a trade for him. But given the way that they're playing and whatnot, do you think that they're sticking with this group, or do you think they're going to look to make moves in the season?
Well, for Buddy Hield and Miles Turner, I will say this. When you stop hearing your names and trade rumors, that means you're probably going to be out of the league. So salute to those guys, first of all, because those two are really good players.
Buddy's fantastic, but he's on an expiring $19 million contract, and they haven't got an extension signed. So they run the risk of him walking in free agency if they don't extend him.
But that's okay.
So they could look to trade him.
That's okay. And I'm okay with that. And I'm okay with them, saying we know what we have with Buddy Hield. Okay, there's a premium on what Buddy Hield does in this league. Okay, and they have the opportunity, if they so desire, to re-sign him and get that done. But they also know that they have Mathurin coming up. Okay, and they have some things that they have to address as well.
And Obi Toppin. Neesmith as well. They're going to need some
them.
And then Miles Turner will be expiring next season. And Miles Turner, it feels like he's been around forever. He's only 27. And then Bruce Brown will be expiring next season, even though it's a team option, $23 million for next year. He's only 27 as well. So if they want to lock in with those guys, they may even just need the cap space for.
But let me say this. Buddy Hield is one of those guys. In the right scenario, he could swing the pendulum for a championship caliber team. He's got a skill set that there is a premium for that. Now, you can say a lot of things about Buddy Hield, but let me tell you something. There's one thing you can't say. you can't say that man can't shoot that ball. He can shoot that ball with the best of them. Now, Buddy Hield, now Buddy can do that. So I'm not concerned about Buddy Hield. It's just a matter, the Indiana Pacers have to get their books in order to figure out what they're going to do. Because Buddy Hield, when he's on the court, I know what the scouting report says. Stay home. Okay? And let me tell you something. When you have a player like Halliburton now, who is going to command the defensive attention with more than one player, suddenly players like Buddy Hield become even more valuable. So the Indiana Pacers are going to have to make a decision, because Buddy Hield is what I would call a star role player, because every star player wants to play with the Buddy Hield. Why? Because it's going to create space for that star player. So great job by the Pacers and their scouting and their coaches to figure out the value of a Buddy Hield. But more importantly, now they have what we are saying is going to be a star player, Halliburton. So you're going to need star role players to complement this player that's going to need space, so forth and so on. So I'm not concerned about Buddy Hield. He will have a home in this league. If I were in this league right now, I would be circling Buddy Hield and making sure that Buddy Hield knows you got a home, because what he provides, everybody needs shooting. Every team in the league needs shooting. So I think this is a great problem to have if I'm the Indiana Pacers. You're winning. You have players that you know you can trade at any given moment, but you got to figure out what you're willing to commit to. And isn't this what we all want? So I can't wait to see what they do, because they can't keep everybody. They can't sign everybody. We know Mathurin is, there isn't a team in the league that wouldn't take Mathurin. Obi Toppin is scoring at a nice clip, whether he starts or come off the bench. I think he had 20
he's got
something
more
last
potential.
night.
I think he can get even better.
That's what I'm saying. And I like it. I mean, your Indiana has done a really, really nice job. And it all started with one of these players have to evolve. Well, Tyrese Halliburton now has evolved, separated himself from the pack. And now you're saying, let's build around it.
So I have a question for you. It's just like I gave you the random trivia about Tyrese Halliburton's cousin the other day. Here's a trivia question. What's Buddy Hield's real name?
I do not know that. I should know that, though. I feel like I should know that.
Are you ready? Because you could never guess this in a million years.
Okay, what is it?
Chavano Rainier Hield.
Hey, buddy.
I do not know where Buddy came from out of that. Okay, I've got it here. Hield received his nickname from his mother after Bud Bundy of the sitcom Married with Children.
Oh, that's a
is that American thing? I never seen.
Oh, you never seen it. Well, you know what? You gotta make time.
I mean, BJ, it's an American sitcom that came out in 1987.
It's more relevant today than it was then when it came out.
And it stopped running in 1997 when I was 3 years old. But okay. Yeah, Chavano Rainier Hield, salute to you. Man, I'm looking at the Eastern Conference, right? And it's really like, if we assume and make the assumption that the Celtics, the Bucks, and the Sixers are going to be the top three.
Yeah.
Spots 4, 5, and 6 to avoid the play-in. Right now, it's the Heat, the Magic, and the Pacers. But then you've also got the Knicks, the Cavaliers, and the Hawks, if they figure it out. The Nets, my thing with the Nets is they've got great players to fill their roles, right? But they just don't. It reminds me a lot of like Toronto before they got Kawhi. They just need a superstar to come in and give them the edge, and then allow everyone else to flourish in their roles. And then they'll be up in the Eastern Conference too. And they've got significant assets to trade for said superstar and salary with Ben Simmons there, right? If there's disgruntled star X, Y, Z. But those teams there, so you've got the Heat, the Magic, the Pacers, the Knicks, the Cavs, the Nets, and the Hawks. I don't know if the Raptors are going to be in this conversation, but that's 7 teams. Who do you think, which 3 of those are going to make those spots 4, 5, and 6? A little bit early to ask, but why not?
Well, just on experience, I would say the Knicks. I would say Cleveland and Indiana. I mean, those probably, but as I'm saying this, I'm going, where's Miami? Miami's like what?
Miami are fourth right now, 9 and 5.
That's what I'm saying. Like, okay, so they lose
everyone,
and then this, I mean, so you know what I mean? Like, Bo, like I don't.
There's death, there's taxes, and there's Eric Spoelstra figuring out something.
Something exactly. So, but I would say, just on paper, I would say the Knicks. I would say Cleveland for sure, and then I would say Indiana. Like, just based on like what I can see on paper. But I can't count out Jimmy Butler as I was watching the game last night against my Bulls, and the guy just shoots a sky hook and calls it during the course of a game.
Yep. Yeah, we spoke about this yesterday.
Okay. So, I mean, so I don't know what to say. Miami, when it's all said and done, they'll be there somewhere. And then we'll all be sitting here going, Miami will be in the NBA Finals, and how did this happen? And you know, and probably, who knows, Duncan Robinson will probably be MVP of the Eastern Conference, Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, this is how this works. So, but I would think those three that I mentioned would probably be somewhere in there. And, just based on talent and what I can see.
With the Magic currently sitting in 5, obviously they weren't expected to be this good. By a lot of people. Obviously, Magic fans still had the belief in them, but do you think with it, because we've seen in previous years, a lot of young teams have really hot start to the season and then it kind of just trails off a little bit. But the Magic's hot start is predicated a large part on their defense. So do you think this Magic team is built to last throughout the course of the 82? Or do you think they're going to hit a wall and people are going to adjust their scouting reports and whatnot? But it's hard to adjust a scouting report for these guys are just locking us the hell up.
Well, Mo, let's say this. I think the Orlando Magic are ahead of schedule right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Again, this is Banchero was second year, right? He's rookie of the year just a year ago. And suddenly now they were playing some games that kind of were meaningful games for the Orlando Magic late in the season last year. And now, Mo, they've made another jump, and I think they're ahead of schedule. So I have nothing but praise and, support for what they're doing down there in Orlando. I think they are playing a good brand of basketball. The fact that we're talking about a young team defending, Mo, think about that. This is a young team and they're defending. So clearly there's a buy-in and they all understand. But more importantly, they play in a brand of basketball, Mo, which translates. And if anyone defends, and I'm a huge component of that, if you're defending, that gives you a chance to win. It doesn't guarantee that you'll win, but if you will defend and rebound the basketball, Mo, you will win your fair share of games. And if they continue that trend, this team will continue to be ahead of schedule, because that's a very difficult thing to do with young guys, and they're doing it now. So they are ahead of schedule in my book. And I'll take it because I know how difficult that is. So, you know what? What are they? 9-4, 9-5 or something?
Yeah, they're on a 4-game win streak. They're 9-5 as we record this show. I know they're playing the Nuggets tonight, I believe, and you guys will know the result by the time the show comes out. But, man, this is one thing I wanted to talk about, right? And this is just me venting now.
Okay.
Because we've seen this happen this week and last week. Did you see? Of course, you saw the Pistons Nuggets game.
Oh, yes, I did. I watched that game.
Why
do you have to remind me? Why do you have to remind me?
We're not talking about the result where you guys were winning the whole time and then lost at the end. I want to talk about Nikola Jokic getting ejected, right? Because the week before, when Giannis got ejected as well, right? Mm-hmm. Both got ejected for pretty much nothingness, right? Okay. Draymond Green does those same things a million times worse, and the refs are just like, cool, that's just Draymond. My problem here is there's no fans who work hard all week to pay for their ticket. I can't wait to watch Draymond put up 5 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists. But there are many fans who put their hard-earned money into tickets and say, I want to see Giannis score 40 points. I want to see the Jokic get a triple-double. The refs, because I know you have a close relationship with referees, why are they ejecting the superstars that the fans will want to see? And then the players that the fans don't really care about, if I say that respectfully, they're letting them do way worse and stay in the game.
Well, I know it may appear to be that way, but let me assure you this. It's early in the season, Paul, and everyone's working out the kinks. Everyone's working out the kinks. I love the fact when referees take control of the game, regardless. Now, here's where I would have a problem. If a guy gets thrown out with playoff implications or in the playoffs for something like that, then Mo, now I'm having a discussion I'm having a discussion about what's going on.
Yes.
It's early in the season. I don't know what was said, but I'm sure it was something.
Let me counteract that point.
Okay.
Although for us who watch all the games and X, Y, Z, there are fans out there who that early in the season game where they've got a last minute ticket, maybe their only chance to go and watch an NBA game all season long. They're not going to be there in the playoffs. They may have been watching that game and it's their birthday and the parents got them tickets for the game. And then they get there and now the best player's not there for half the game or more. That's my problem with it, regardless of when the game is and the implications of an ejection.
I don't know what was said to warrant that, suspension or him getting thrown out of the game. Okay. But whatever was said, both of them, Coach Malone and Jokic, walked off and they appear to be, they got their money's worth.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not saying, I understand what you're saying. However, a lot of times there's a thing, Mo, called credibility. And if you're just going to let anybody say anything to you at any time, sometime, Mo, you got to set the tone. And I don't know what was said. Okay. But I'm sure they weren't debating about dinner reservations after the game.
No.
Okay.
I don't know if there's many Serbian restaurants in Detroit, BJ.
Yes. Maybe.
Is there?
Mr. Jokic has a different palate now that he's, he plays here in America, So
there are 5 Serbian restaurants in Detroit.
Yes. So whatever.
Just for anyone wondering.
Yeah. For whatever it is, whatever happened. But I will say this. I'm sure in different settings, Coach Malone and Mr. Jokic both know their importance and their value to their team. We all love to push it right to the line, Mo. Okay. Mo knows what he can say and what he can't say on air. He knows it. And Mo does an incredible job every day, ladies and gentlemen, of pushing it right to the line.
Man, when we used to do live shows on TV, right? And we're in the studio for like 8 hours. And I'm just on my best behavior. I'll just get into my car. BJ calls me. We're in the car. We're talking about the show. And every sentence is just got a swear word in because I've just got to let it out. I just got to let it out.
Yeah. Okay. And I get it. So it's unfortunate that he gets thrown out of the game. It was. And I hear what you're saying. But you know what? Well, you know what I do like, though? I do like it when a call. Okay, so you can look at it this way. So you're saying, who's going to win the game, Denver versus Detroit? You're going, everyone would say Denver's going to win that game. But here's a guy fighting for a call against the Detroit Pistons on a random, Tuesday night doing game, 18 of the season. And you know what, Mo? That's what makes him special. Mm-hmm. So the fact that meant something to him, that one call, because he could have just walked away and said, you know what, I'm not going. It meant something to him. And to me, Mo, this is what makes him great. Because he doesn't just want to win during certain times of the year. He doesn't just want to win against some of the teams. He's fighting for every call, and it means something to him. So that, to me, Mo, is what makes him special and unique. It stunk for those fans who may have only get a chance to see him play one time. Okay, I get that. But what you did see, ladies and gentlemen, is a player that cares about the game. And the fact that he was arguing about that call as if it was Game 7 of the NBA Finals, to me, Mo, just says everything about him of why he's been able to achieve what he's been able to achieve. Because, Mo, that's what you're looking for.
And they say he doesn't like basketball because he has other hobbies in the offseason.
No, it means something to him. It means this game means something to him. And he has the competitive spirit where clearly, Mo, it means something to him. Because by all accounts, Mo, he could have just very easily just walked away and said, you know what? It doesn't really matter. Hey, it's Tuesday. We're playing Detroit. It's no big deal, blah, blah, blah. But no, he didn't. He didn't walk away. And
do you know what I love most, BJ? I'm going to complain about something else. I'm going to vent about something else. Jokic might be, out of all the superstars in the NBA, you know, superstars tend to get a favorable whistle, right? Mm-hmm. I think we can agree that superstars get calls that a lot of other players don't get.
It appears that they get a favorable. I don't know if they do. It just appears to be.
Well, let's put it like this. Rookies get an unfair whistle and they get penalized for things that veteran players don't, right? So we go on this basis. Out of all the superstars, I think Jokic gets fouled the most without getting the whistle blown for him. And I actually tweeted this earlier. I was watching, you know, because this is all I do with my time nowadays. I was watching some games from Joel Embiid's rookie season.
Okay.
And I'm watching him on the block. He's hitting them with the dream shake. He's hitting them with all the post moves. He's stepping out, facing up, hitting the jumpers. And I'm like, this guy used to be maybe my favorite player to watch in the league at the time through the first few years of his career. But now, did you see Embiid last night against the Cavs? The way he's just flopping his body to try and get foul calls. There's one against Dean Wade. If you search for that, you will see exactly the example I mean, right? He just runs into him and throws the ball in the air and gets 2 free throws out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether it's because James Harden came to Philadelphia and chilled with him for a little bit. I don't know who's told him to do this, but the way he just hunts for fouls and constantly flops, I hate watching it now. Not that I hate watching Joel Embiid. I hate that aspect of the game. Whereas Jokic plays the game, in my opinion, more honestly, because you don't really see him flop and beg for fouls. He's getting fouled, not getting the call, and that's why you see the frustrations like what happened against Detroit. Whereas Embiid, he'll have games where he's like 6 of 18 from the field, right? But then he's going to score 20 free throws to go alongside it, and he finishes with 32 points. I'm not a fan. How do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, listen, everyone has their style. And not being a big guy myself, I can only imagine why you would put emphasis on every time you do get fouled. Just for the fact Jokic gets, you could probably call a foul every play that he has the ball, Jokic. Everyone handles their situation differently. And, you know, you've heard me say this before. Well, thank goodness that Shaq was a gentleman. Okay. I understand to a degree why Joel Embiid flops, because you probably could call a foul on him the majority of the time he has the ball. And he, like many, you know, one of my good friends is Vlade Divac. Vlade probably ushered in the flopping. If he didn't usher it in, he's definitely made it.
It's the European influence from football.
Well, whatever it is. Yeah, whatever it is. I get why you flop. Like, you know, you get fouled. Well, he's big. We can let it go. And I get why those guys do it. I do. Because you know what? I should hold my hand up right now for all the times I fouled big guys. And they just
No,
let
no,
it go.
but this is the point I'm making is this. Jokic puts up probably better stat lines than Embiid, and he does it without flopping and crying to the referees. Why can't Embiid just play that way?
Well, Jokic does a nice job of making sure that when he gets fouled, he's not letting it go. Jokic doesn't let it go. Like, I've seen this guy. I mean, that's why we love him. I mean, he's got a little attitude with him.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
From the Balkans, bro. You don't mess with Jokic. You crazy.
That's what I'm saying. So it's not like he fouls you and he goes, "Oh, no problem, Mo."
Yeah, but it's not like you foul him and he goes, "Oh, referee, I need my free throws."
Oh, well, I've seen him. There's a lot of games I've seen them have to calm him down.
Oh no, he gets mad, but he doesn't fling the ball in the air and fall to the floor.
Well, everyone has their own style of how they deal with whatever the scenario and situation is. But I can say this. Big guy, I understand why bigs flop, and I understand why bigs complain. Because they do get fouled. Sometimes they do initiate the contact.
I'm mad at the flopping.
Okay. And however you choose to put emphasis to get the call that you're looking for, I'm all for it. But just make sure you get fouled while you're doing it. Because let me say something. Whether you flop or you don't flop, both of those players are getting fouled. And you probably can call fouls every time they touch the ball. Because let me say this. If Joel Embiid catches the ball in the paint, there's only one person stopping him, and that's Joel Embiid. Okay.
That's actually someone else. His name is Al Horford. He plays for the Boston Celtics.
Okay. Well,
if you want to see this, you just tune into the playoffs any year ever.
There are anomalies to everything. So we all have our kryptonite. Superman has his kryptonite too. And Jokic is the same. I feel that he catches the ball in the paint, you're not stopping him. And when they get fouled, they're gonna get upset. So that's okay. You know, us little guys, Mo, we're out there on the perimeter and we just hang out. We shoot threes. But those big guys, they give them a call.
Under your advice, then, BJ, when I play this All-Star Celebrity game, I will be flopping as much as possible because you don't mind it.
Mo, you will be flopping.
You'll never see me. I'll put this on my life. I will die before I flop on a basketball court. May the Lord strike me down if I ever flop before in my life.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Now, if you found me too hard, I might do what Jokic did to Morris, but I damn sure will not be flopping. I might wait in the car park after the game, but I'm not ever going to flop. That's disgusting behavior.
Okay. All right.
Have some self-respect and stop flopping. That's another episode of the Hoop Genius podcast. You can subscribe. YouTube.
Are you really going to end it?
Hell yeah. I'm so tired. I'm watching these games and guys are just trying to draw fouls. How about you just try and make the bucket? Just try and make the bucket. Get off the floor. I'm tired of it.
Okay.
I had to get it off my chest. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for listening. I hope you guys at home enjoyed. But that's been another episode. And hopefully, well, tonight's games that you guys will have seen by the time you listen, Embiid is out against the Timberwolves, which is a shame. I was really looking forward to that game.
The Timberwolves are they?
Yeah, he's out. Said resting second night of a back-to-back, or there'll be some injury attached to it, so they don't get fined. But he's out against the Timberwolves. Didn't want that smoke with my man Headlock Rudy, or Headlock E.
What do you call him?
Headlock E. What's the word for someone who gets headlocked?
Are you sure they're playing the Timberwolves tonight? No, I don't see that on the schedule.
Is my schedule bugging?
Yeah, you might be. Are you sure?
Yep, at 1 a.m. UK time.
Okay. And maybe it's my schedule. Oh, yeah, I see it. You're right.
Yes, sir. Well, we'll be back tomorrow. Well, maybe we won't because it's Thanksgiving.
Real quick, before you go, what do you think of these? Real quick.
We're still on air, right?
Yeah, 5 seconds.
Yeah.
10 seconds. What do you think of these back-to-back games that they play at these home things? What do you think of that?
Where you play the same team twice?
Yes.
I like it. Because First of all, like what we saw with the Timberwolves, they had a little back and forth talking, and then the second game was even more intense. But also, you get to see the adjustments that teams have made, if any, on the second game. So personally, I like it. What about yourself?
No, I don't like it. I don't like that.
Why not?
Well, you're just kind of like, you come, you play, then you sit there for like a day or two, and then you play. Like, I don't like the rhythm of just playing the team back to back. Like, move on. Like, move on. And the fact that you sit there, it's just like I don't like the flow of it. I'm not sure why I don't like it, but I don't like the flow of it. But I'll keep looking at it. I'll look at it with an open mind. I didn't want to stop.
I think it's designed to like minimize travel, right? That's surely why they put it in.
Okay, that's fair.
So that's why there should be no excuse for missing games. But here we are, another episode of the Hoop Genius podcast. Subscribe, YouTube, Apple, Spotify. We'll be back tomorrow with more. Maybe if BJ can get some free time on Thanksgiving. If not, I'll figure it out. Appreciate you guys tuning in. And most importantly, do not flop and get buckets.